Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We're here with war number 10 of season 49, and Matrix has matched up against an Asian alliance. I don't know what language it is, I don't know what the symbols are, so I'm just going to put Asian in the title and some question marks on the thumbnail. That's what I've always done, that's what I did way back in the day. I'm just going to keep it up because I don't really want to go through the effort of finding what language it is, getting the name of, it's just a lot, and I feel like this is simpler. Today we have a 7-fight war, and I have 5 Hood fights, 2 Gambit fights. We are on Path 7, Section 1, and then I think we're on Path 8, Section 2. This fight right here, this is a pretty straightforward fight. I have taken this a couple times. Well, I've actually taken similar defenders here a couple times. I don't think I've taken Crossbones here with Gambit. I've definitely taken Crossbones here with Hood, though. And this is pretty simple. I did make one mistake at the beginning of the fight where basically I just miscounted my light attack. So I thought that I was throwing my 3rd light, but I ended up throwing a light combo ender into the block by accident. Not the biggest deal because I only lost 6% of my health after I made up some health from adrenaline healing, but this fight is really straightforward. The only danger to this fight exists when he shrugs a debuff, and this node does give him extra debuffs, but it only occurs when you throw specials. So as long as you do not parry, throw a special, and you are not running resonate, he will never shrug a debuff. So I didn't have anything to worry about there. The fight went down pretty easily. This Absorbing Man is a pretty interesting fight. I actually really like Hood for this matchup because countering his specials with heavies kind of works perfectly with Hood's kit where you want to detonate the hex charges. But I'm going to close my window because my dog is barking and it's really loud. Okay. So basically, I just want to use a normal Hood cycle. It's lagging a little bit here, and I want to make sure to use heavy attacks often after the special attacks. I'm not too worried about getting a full ramp or anything and then just trying to nuke him. I'm mostly just worried about controlling his regeneration because that's really the only thing in this fight that could mess me up. So right here, I'm going to activate my invisibility, and I did get rid of that physical resistance, which is not going to come back. There's no way for that to reactivate on this node. And now I just need to counter, I think it's an SP1 I'm going to counter here, or I'm going to bait. No, maybe I'm just going to kill. Okay, I'm just going to kill. That's completely fine. Very fast fight. I did use a lot of heavy attacks, which means I didn't lose many bullets, having more men on the team. Very straightforward fight. Basically, the whole point of that placement is to just check if you know how to fight Absorbing Man, because I have seen people time out him on that node before because they don't know that countering his specials with a heavy attack is how you shut down his regeneration. And if you can't shut down his regeneration, he's a very bulky defender on that node. So here on Path 8, Section 2, the first fight, we have a Blade. All of the nodes of this fight are centered around the defender having buffs, so due to the fact that Blade does not naturally gain any buffs with the exception of the Dex buff, there is nothing to worry about here. All we have to do is get to a special 2 and then throw it, and he is going to go down. I'm not too worried about the global here. I did throw an extra parry there. Here I'm trying to get him to throw a heavy attack. There we go, gonna counter that. He is unfortunately going to throw this SP1 while I was trying to get him to dash at me. But here, I'm just parry, go for a medium into the SP2. I do get a nice crit, and it almost kills, but we just end up hitting him right after, and he drops. A very, very safe fight, and that is actually all of the Gambit fights for the war. So now we have 4 Hood fights to finish it off. And the first one here is Super Skrull on Rich Get Richer Force of Will. This is a matchup I see all the time, or a placement I see all the time. This is the second time this season I've taken it, and I am going to take it one more time in war number 11. Actually, I might also take it in war 12. I genuinely don't remember. I know I'm on Path 8, Section 2. I just don't remember who the defender is on this node. But basically here, as soon as he gets the power gain, he is going to start taking advantage of Rich Get Richer. So you want to get to your SP2 as soon as possible. It's not really a risky fight. The only thing you really have to worry about is making sure that you keep the global under check and that you watch out for his falter, because while you have the Fate Seal on him, there is a chance to fail it. It's a 65% chance for the Indestructible to fail. Not guaranteed, though. And here, if you notice right here, I could have charged heavy, but I looked up at my miss charges and noticed I had 8 bullets banked, and all I had to do was let invisibility expire, and I got all 8 bullets back. So because I waited a second and didn't instantly detonate them with a heavy attack, I actually gained a ton of bullets, which was huge. That was very important in this war. Here we have this Gladiator. This is the fight I died to. I think it was war 6 or 7 I died to it. Something like that. I think it was war 7. 7 sounds correct. But basically, the only reason I died to this fight is because I did not have any bullets. I was completely out of bullets. And I just didn't have the ability to control the fight. But you'll see here just how easy the fight really is when you can control it. And yeah, it's going to be incredibly easy. Basically, I'm going to go for a parry heavy. Now, Gladiator himself, he does get the vigilance, so I'm just going to suck it up and take a little bit of reflection damage during my parry stun. I only have to do that twice, and only for 2 hits total the entire fight, so I'm not super concerned about it. And now that I have my Fate Seal up, obviously he's not going to be able to trigger any more of his vigilance buffs. But here I've thrown 2 L2s. I just need to throw 1 more and then detonate them with a heavy attack, and this fight will be over. So there we go. Just need to get a heavy attack in. I go for a heavy. He's at 2%. I'm just going to beta dash, use a striker. I also could have thrown the special there. Wouldn't have mattered, but it would have cost me like 1 or 2 bullets because he probably would have died on the 2nd or 3rd hit. So just being a little safe through the striker. Even if he had protection there, I could have just thrown a heavy attack, removed it, dash back, intercept with my SP2. The point is that there was no risk there. Here we have probably the most dangerous fight in the war, and the only fight I was really concerned about. This is Corvus Glaive on Hazard Shift. And Hood does counter this fight the same way that he normally counters Hazard Shift, so there's nothing to worry about. As soon as you get to your L2, he is going to not completely shut it down, but shut it down enough that the Hazard Shift part of the node is not going to be the problem. Here, I was waiting to throw my L2 while I had invisibility up so I could power steal. Here, he went for a heavy attack, which was the perfect opportunity for it. Went for an L2. I did get pretty bad hazard shift RNG there. That L2 right there triggered 2 hits. Triggered hazard shift twice, which is very unlucky given that having the Fate Seal reduces the hazard shift's chance to trigger from 40% all the way down to 14%. It was pretty unlucky, but here I really just need to knock him down 1 or 2 more times, and looking at my health, I'm in a very safe position. I am beating him in the health race by a lot, and I still have the Fate Seal up because every hit obviously refreshes it. So that fight goes down in a minute, and considering that was a rank 3 Corvus, I'm pretty happy walking out with that amount of health. I didn't make any mistakes, and the only damage I took was the hazard shift. This fight, as soon as that Corvus Glaive went down, I knew the war was over. I probably couldn't die to this fight if I tried, unless I just completely forgot how to play the game. This is Sersi, a terrible defender when you consider that the attacker is Hood, who just very, very hard counters her. I would probably consider Hood the hardest Sersi matchup in the counter in the game, although Tigra would probably make an argument there, as she is obviously very good for the matchup. But as long as we just knock down, the vigilance is not even going to trigger in this fight. It just doesn't matter, because Fate Seal and Stagger, the combination just means she won't have buffs, so there's no buffs to expire to trigger it. Here I throw my L2. Didn't bother waiting for the invisibility because I knew this heavy attack kills. And that's a fight. That's the whole fight. Unfortunately, she was a little bit annoying, and she did throw a special 2 while I was blocking, but it wasn't really that big of a deal. That is actually the end of my fights, so let's talk a little bit about how this war went. We were winning this war, the entire war, by quite a good number of deaths. And we had a guy in our alliance die 5 times. And I don't mean die 5 times, I mean lose 5 attack bonus. He was on path 9, section 2. He lost 2 attack bonus to both fights, both hazard shift fights. So on one path he died 4 times, and then he died again to a mini boss. Now we have a rule in our alliance where if you die once, unless the plan for the fight is incredibly clear and you know exactly what you're doing and it was a fluke that you died, you need to stop fighting and you need to go talk to an officer and run the strategy by him before you go in. This person didn't do that. In fact, we didn't even know about the deaths until he died the 5th time, and then he said something. We are very straightforward about our expectations as an alliance, and this person was kicked because of this. But unfortunately, he died just enough times to make us tie the war and lose on time. We were on pace to end this war with about 8 or 9 deaths, which was for us above average. We usually do better than that. But he died 5 times to 3 fights and single-handedly lost us the war. And I'm fairly certain that this is the war that we needed to win to have a shot at top 3. And that shot is now completely gone. I believe it was technically possible to make top 3 with a record of 8-4. Although it would require certain matchups to go the way that we wanted. It's now impossible. It probably wasn't happening anyways, considering that even if we had that record, we would tie alliances that had better attack bonus than us this season. But this war was really, like, we knew for sure that there was no chance. And because of this war, we actually fell out of top 10. And we need to win both of our last 2 wars to finish in top 10. So we'll do our best. We will do our best to do that. I already know the results of a lot of the last 2 wars, but I'm not going to comment on it. We're currently in the middle of War 12, but the war is over. I know who the winner is. Not going to give any spoilers, though. We are now 5-5 on the season, and we really need to win. We obviously have Masters locked in. Because of the way that the wars fell, we didn't need to win enough, or we needed to only go 6-5 or 6-6. I guess I just spoiled. We won War 11. Oops. Not that big of a deal though. And hopefully we can win the last 2 wars and finish in top 10. We'll see what happens. We still need a little bit of luck with the matchups. And we need to have good performances on the attack bonus than the last 2 wars. But we have a chance at top 10 at least. Our death total as on the season for me personally is still at 3. I haven't died in a while, or at least in 4 wars. And my PSR is at 61 out of 64 fights soloed, which is, I think it's like 95.3%. So very close to 96. And my deathless streak is up to 24 fights without dying. That's going to be all for today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all later. Bye.